Alright guys, another video. You guys must think that I am just the bearer of bad news. You know, that's not it, guys. What I try to do is I try to wake people up from the world. I think, like I say, Jesus said that anyone who loves the world does not love God. I mean, again, the whole world is deceived. So there are preachers out there that preach about God and the Word, and that's good, man. That's great. My calling is to just expose everything that everybody thinks is good, which is actually evil. Okay? That's what I'm all about. For whatever reason, man, it's in my brain, and I run after that. And okay, so now you know. Anyway, man, I had a thing I was thinking about, this autism. Okay, autism rates in these children are through the roof. You know, years ago, you didn't have it. Now it's through the roof. Okay, now let's think about this. They started shooting these kids up with this shit that they do. And in these particular shots, years ago, was mercury. The FDA Satan government claims that it was a good kind of mercury that automatically flushes out of your system. Well, if it flushes out of your system, then why do you need it in the first place? Why are you putting mercury, any kind of mercury, into somebody's body? Okay? Oh my God. You know, and it wasn't just the mercury. It was like freaking 5,000 other different chemicals that were in these shots. And what in the hell are you guys doing anyway? Why do parents allow these idiots to inject their kids with this shit? Once again, you're in the system. You do as you're told. You do as Satan says. Man, I tell you, I wouldn't even do it. I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, you know, I wouldn't even want these people touching my kids and putting this shit in their bodies. I had to do that when I was a kid. I didn't know any better. My parents didn't know any better. Like I said, shingles is a form of chickenpox. 99.9% of every single person in the United States has shingles. Look it up. And it's because they did this to you when you were a kid, or you couldn't go to school, or your parent would be a bad parent. They would take the kid away from the parent, you know, because they didn't do this. And now everybody's got shingles, believe it or not. Whoever I'm speaking to right now, you got shingles because you were forced to have this lab rat shit done to you. But anyway, man, autism through the roof. Now, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to sort of figure out what the hell is going on. I have 4 or 5 aunts or uncles or whoever that have kids that have autism. You know, and dude, I don't remember any of my friends back in the day having autism. You know, I don't remember anybody going to school that had autism. Anybody I knew. Now I do. I mean, just in the family alone, I know 4, 5, 6 kids in the family that have it. And I mean, it's an obvious learning, I don't know what it is, learning disability. Like you can see they got it. Okay? But how did they get it? Why is it through the roof? Just like cancer. Okay, you all know why cancer's through the roof as compared to way back then. Hardly anybody had it. Because of the poison, toxic foods that's at Walmart and everything we're eating. The preservatives, the chemicals, the plastics, the fluoride, and all the chemicals that they're pumping into your water in your house. You go to the dentist, he's putting all these fluorides and all these chemicals in your mouth. On and on and on. The doctors, pharmaceuticals, pharmakia, sorcery, all the drugs they're pushing on you. Cancer, 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 cancer. So you know why. And like I said, I know why autism rates are through the roof. Okay, because everybody trusts Satan. The doctors, okay, they're told by the government to give all these kids this crap and they do it. It's their livelihood. It's their money. Okay? They trust Satan to administer the pharmakia, the sorcery that's described in the Bible. That's what pharmakia stands for in Greek. Sorcery, evil, pharmacy. You guys understand this, and that's what I try to do. I try to wake you guys up to show you. Long time ago, there was no pharmacy. There was no pharmakia. You didn't have the hospitals with all these vaccines and all these shots and all this shit, and there was no cancer. Why? Because everything was pure. Okay? Dude, there was none of these chemicals and all this shit that we're exposed to on a daily basis. You got 5G cell towers that are bombarding your body full of freaking harmful radiation waves. You got your smart meters on your house. I did a video down in Florida about 5 years ago. I was down in Florida, and these rental units, okay, that I was staying at, I didn't notice, somebody showed it to me. The smart meters on the outside of the units, they had plants growing along the whole building that were flourishing, and then right underneath the smart meters, all them plants were dead. It was a dead zone within a certain radius of square footage around every single smart meter. So I went to the first building, I went around to the second building, the third building, same thing. All the plants were dead because they're being bombarded by this freaking radiation coming off these smart meters. So that's why you guys have cancer today, because of all this stuff. And and the government, Satan tells you it's okay. They're going to go to 6G. Trump is all on that. We're going 6G. Then we're going to go 7G. Well, they need it so they can put the chip in your ass. They need the AI infrastructure and the 6G and the 7G so they can control the slaves. That's what it's really for. They need better slavery techniques to control you and track you and all that shit. So they need the faster processing speeds, which will cause you more cancer. They don't give a shit. Fucking Elon Musk is building robots to take over your shit anyway. But anyway, man, autism, I just want to show you guys how deceived all the doctors are. You think you can trust these doctors and this pharmakia and this pharmacy? No, you cannot. They are deceived. They're killing you. They're effing your kids up, shooting them up with all this mercury and all this crap. And nobody questions anything. Once again, society. You're just so dumbed down. You just can't even put two and two together to wonder why your kid got autism, because this is what they're doing. Okay? Nobody stands up. Nobody does nothing. Nobody gets together. Nobody forms some type of group and says, hey, we're going to sue. We're going to sue whoever's making this shit, the big pharma, big pharmaceutical company. Then we're going to sue the government for putting a stamp on it, FDA. Then we're going to sue the doctors and the hospitals for going through with it. But I want you, once again, guys, I'm going to show you how deceived the doctors are and how deceived the whole system is and how deceived the parents are to allow them to do this shit to their kids. And once again, it's not going to hit every kid, but it hits so many. Maybe certain doses are higher in mercury, higher in this. In fact, that's a fact. I read a thing once where they were saying they couldn't control the amount of mercury in all these doses. But you got millions of doses. Some doses are going to get larger quantities of mercury. Again, there's 5,000 different freaking chemicals in these shots. What in the hell are they putting in this stuff? And why do they feel the need to inject it into your children? Dude, this is how twisted and how demonic the whole society is, and what they're doing to you and what they're getting away with. Wow. Just think about it, man. Think about how deceived the doctors are. Think about how evil the government is, working for Satan. They are Satan. And look what they're getting away with. Society doesn't care. They're not awake. They don't even have an understanding of what the hell is going on. They just do whatever they're told. The doctors just do whatever they're told. And Satan runs the show. And he's getting away with it. The whole world is deceived according to the Bible. The whole damn world. And like I say, it's my calling, man. I just think about shit like this and how deceived everybody really is. You know, that you trust these pharmaceutical, you trust these doctors, and man, they're deceived, dude. All them pills and all that shit they dish out, man, I tell you what, I don't even want to get into it right now. I mean, there's a lot of malpractice. It's all about the money. Money, money, money. When it all boils down to everything, it's all about the money. Okay? All the evil in the world, it all boils down to money. You know, Hitler's little people, they did what they did, the soldiers, because of money. Because of money. Drugs, trafficking, prostitution, child, whatever, all about money. Root of all evil. Seriously, man, it's what it all boils down to. Everybody is blinded by that because it's all about survival. So once again, that's why the doctors do that shit. Because they're told it's good and they believe Satan. And they, you know, it's all about their money. They got to pay the bills and they want them Porsches and they want them nice cars, and you bet they're going to do what they're told. They don't even know any better. It's unbelievable. The whole world is deceived. Wake up. Eyes on Jesus. Amen. Peace out. Take care. God bless.